It's impossible. We need you. You're the Northern Front.
With recent
He's trying to survive the short term to address the long term.
Experts say Washington's strategic shift to the Indo-Pacific, which began during Trump's first term, is likely here to stay. They say this pivot is a long-term move, one unlikely to be reversed by short-term distractions from the Israel-Iran crisis. Amid the ongoing crisis between Israel and Iran, one major player with deep ties to Tehran is watching closely: China. On Sunday, Secretary of State Marco Rubio urged the Chinese regime to encourage Iran not to close the strategic Strait of Hormuz, a vital oil passage. This raises a key question. Why is the U.S. turning to China for help? We take a closer look at Beijing's Middle East ties and core interests in the region. China, as the top buyer of Iranian oil, has extended a lifeline for Tehran's struggling economy. Despite U.S.'s sanctions, Beijing buys more than 90% of Iranian oil exports, accounting for roughly 12% of Iran's GDP. In return, China benefits from discounted oil prices. Iran is the second largest country in the Middle East. It joined China's Belt and Road Initiative in 2016, helping to expand China's influence in the region. In 2021, China and Iran signed a 25-year strategic pact covering economic, military, and security cooperation. China and Iran also hold regular military drills, deepening their strategic ties. The U.S. has long accused China of aiding Iran's nuclear program. This support dates back to the 1980s, when China allegedly helped build Iran's largest nuclear research center in Isfahan. China reportedly supplied Iran with materials and technology needed for nuclear weapons development. Brandon Weichart, senior national security editor at the National Interest, warned that if Iran acquires nuclear weapons, it could destabilize the region, threaten Israel and U.S. security, and trigger a nuclear arms race across the Middle East. A former senior U.S. intel officer says China and Russia view Iran's nuclear development as a way to weaken U.S. military power in the region, especially after sanctions on Russia over Ukraine. Many China analysts believe Beijing may see this as an opportunity to increase pressure on Taiwan, while the U.S. is more engaged in the Middle East conflicts. How could a move on Taiwan by China impact Europe's security? NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte explains the risks Monday ahead of the NATO summit in The Hague. Let's take a closer look.
Just ahead of the summit, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte issued a stark warning. He said China's expanding military capabilities signal a move toward global power projection, with serious consequences not only for the Indo-Pacific, but also for Europe.
We know that out of the 10 biggest defense companies, only a couple of years ago, you would not find any Chinese companies. At this moment, you will find 3 to 5 Chinese defense companies in the top 10 of biggest defense companies in the world.
At the same time, Beijing's increasingly aggressive actions in the Indo-Pacific are raising alarm among nearby nations.
We have this close relationship now with Japan, the Republic of Korea, Australia, and New Zealand, exactly for the reason that these countries are very, very worried about the massive military build-up China at the moment is taking place.
Adding to the concern, the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency recently released its worldwide threat assessment. It named China's military modernization as the most comprehensive and pressing global threat. One of the top worries, a possible Chinese invasion of Taiwan. Rutte warned such a move could be coordinated with Russia, a strategy to stir unrest in Europe and divide NATO's focus and resources.
And that is one of the reasons why we have to stand ready. And we cannot be naive. We have to be clear on this. And that is why that extra defense spending is so important. That is why NATO does not have, as an alliance, opt-out, side deals, etc. Because we all have to chip in.
In response, and at the urging of the United States, NATO members have agreed to boost defense spending. The new target? 5% of GDP, more than double the current 2% benchmark. Allies also plan to ramp up military production and rebuild supply chains to ensure the alliance is ready for the challenges ahead.
Taiwan